Today's video is sponsored by Energy Sage. Visit the link in the description below to help find out how Energy Sage can help you contract local verified solar experts to help you generate clean, green, renewable electricity for your home, either through solar panels on your roof or by joining a community solar project in your neighbourhood. If you own an electric car, the chances are that you are living in something of a bubble right now. A bubble in which you don't have to worry about how much it's going to cost to take your children to a friend's house on the other side of the city. A bubble where taking a 2-hour drive to pick up something you nabbed on eBay or Craigslist isn't a big deal. And a bubble where you can't tell anyone without looking first how much a gallon or a litre of petrol is. The rising price of oil, driven by the greed of major oil companies, the backlash to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the destabilization of stock markets around the world, means that buying an electric car today, if you can afford it and find one, is pretty much a no-brainer. But while driving an EV is far more cost-effective on a per-mile or per-kilometre basis than a fossil fuel car, you are still beholden to your local utility company to sell you electricity to fuel your ride. And if you live in some parts of the world, you'll have seen electricity prices soar in the last few months as, yet again, greedy utility companies, often with little or no meaningful regulation over how much they can charge for electricity, cash in at your expense. Unlike fossil-fueled vehicles, however, which require you to go to a filling station to refuel, you can charge your electric car at home with power you've generated on the roof of your house through solar panels. And because today is the summer solstice in the Northern Hemisphere, happy summer solstice, the day where we have more daylight than any other day in the year, I thought today would be an awesome time to explain why solar panels are the best companion your electric car could ever have. But first, you can see clearly now you've hit subscribe. You can see all alerts that come your way. And gone is the darkness of not knowing when. It's gonna be a bright, bright, bright video day. Seriously, if you've not already subscribed and hit the bell, please do, and stick around until the end and I'll tell you how you can support the show. Oh, and my sincerest apologies to Johnny Nash. I couldn't help myself. Sorry. Anyway, back to the video. As I explained in this video, debunking lots of solar myths, there's a link in the description if YouTube cards are non-functioning, as they sometimes are, solar panels have come on in leaps and bounds in the last quarter century. They are more energy dense and efficient today than they have ever been, meaning you can generate more power on your roof today than you could have done 20 or even 10 years ago. They are more affordable. Solar panels are just a fraction of the cost of what they were a few decades ago. And thanks to improvements in power electronics, most modern solar panel arrays now use microinverter technology, meaning that even if part of your roof enters shade, covering some of your solar panels, the rest of your solar system continues to operate at optimum levels. And aside from the occasional cleaning, solar panels should be pretty maintenance-free for the time they're on the roof of your home. The first reason I think solar panels are an electric car's best friend is to do with future-proofing the cost of your electric fuel. Just as prices at the gas pump are subjected to all kinds of instability due to fluctuations in the price of oil, what Wall Street is doing, and which countries are currently at war with one another, the price you pay per kilowatt hour of electricity is subject to similar quote-unquote market forces. In the UK, for example, the price of electricity has recently gone through the metaphorical roof, and driving an electric car, while far cheaper than driving a petrol car, is now a lot more expensive in the UK than it was a year ago. Buying solar panels and putting them on your home, or indeed signing up for a community solar project, can insulate you from that problem. While solar panels do require you to put down a sizable amount of cash up front, you are effectively prepaying for fuel down the road at a fixed cost. And if you're like me and you are enjoying the dawn of middle age, getting solar panels installed on your roof in your 40s is a great time to reap the benefits into retirement, as long as you own your own home, of course, and plan on living there for a while, which is what I do. Since most modern solar panels come with at least 20 years of warranty to 80 or 90% of their original power rating, you should be able to generate power well into your retirement without having to worry about rising electricity prices. And by that point, you'll own the panels, so free electricity. With solar panels now costing far less than they once did, the payback time for solar is also dropping dramatically. And of course, if inflation continues to inflate, then that payback time becomes a whole lot shorter. The next reason I want to talk about is the fact that generating power on the roof of your home or through a local community solar project not only helps build stability and resilience in the grid, but it also lowers the carbon footprint of the power you're consuming, as well as your neighbour's power. While there is a carbon footprint associated with the production and shipping of solar panels, especially as many are produced in China and then shipped around the world, the carbon footprint of electricity produced by photovoltaic solar panels is a lot lower than the typical carbon footprint of your local electrical grid. 9 years ago, the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in the US, NREL for short, stated that electricity produced via photovoltaic solar panels had an average carbon footprint of 40 grams of carbon dioxide equivalent per kilowatt hour of generated electricity throughout the 30-plus year lifetime of an average photovoltaic solar system. That has dropped far further in the time since, although I haven't been able to find a more recent definitive figure. I've seen everything quoted from 20 grams of CO2 equivalent to 35 grams of CO2 equivalent and slightly more. Nevertheless, the US Energy Information Administration, the EIA for short, stated that in 2020, the mean carbon footprint of every one of the 4.01 trillion kilowatt hours of power generated in the US was approximately 385 grams of CO2 equivalent per kilowatt hour. Obviously, that figure does depend on where you live in the world, and some utilities do allow you to buy up to 100% renewable electricity, as ours do, so it may be higher or lower than that. But as an example, here at the house, when I started writing this script, my electricity company was producing electricity at the equivalent of 46 grams of CO2 per kilowatt hour. Around lunchtime, that had risen to about 70 grams per kilowatt hour and has since been falling back down again. But I live in Oregon, a state with a pretty low carbon grid. I mean, our last coal-fired power plant shut down 2 years ago. Oh, and a side note, if you are curious how I figured out the grid carbon footprint, I was using co2signal.com and a plugin for Home Assistant. Don't worry, we're going to be playing with this in the future when it comes to EV charging, along with the solar panel generation here at the studio and our smart home connected charging stations. So make sure you're subscribed for really nerdy future fun. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that if you are driving an electric car for environmental reasons, going solar at home dramatically amplifies the carbon dioxide reduction that an EV can offer. Sure, the grid is always getting cleaner, but we can help it along by producing power independently of your utility company, or even providing our local grid our excess clean energy, which links into the next reason. I'll come to my final point in a second, but first, a word from today's video sponsors. Energy Sage. Energy Sage is an online service in the US that helps homeowners connect with local, verified solar installers who really know their stuff and can help you navigate the process of installing photovoltaic solar panels on the roof of your home. Or it can help you to set up a community solar program or join one, which is a totally awesome way of getting locally generated photovoltaic solar energy if you rent rather than own. We used Energy Sage when we were looking for installers willing to help us put solar panels on the roof of our home, and Energy Sage's verified installers were professional, knowledgeable, and even put us in touch with a totally amazing credit union to help us finance our solar panels for as low a monthly payment as possible. It even helped us join a local group that pushes for more solar energy. And with the US federal tax credit for solar panels due to drop to 22% next year from 26% this, now really is the perfect time to plan solar for your home. Many Energy Sage installers, because of that drop in incentives, are now planning out through to the end of summer and into the autumn. So if you do want to take advantage of that 26% tax credit, time is kind of running out for you to sign up. Follow the link in the description below to sign up to Energy Sage's free, no obligation service today. And if you do choose to use an Energy Sage installer for your own solar installation project, the channel will get a small referral fee. So you're going to be helping us too. Of course, solar panels only work during the daytime when most people are away from their homes at work. And while you might get home in the summertime in the evening and still be able to enjoy the benefit of several hours of sunshine before bed, the majority of EV charging is done at nighttime when your solar panels are not actually going to be generating power. So why bother? Luckily, the answer is pretty simple. Solar panel generation during the day can offset your EV charging costs at night. In most places around the world, grid-tied solar systems, which is what most people install when they opt to go solar, can feed the power back to your local electricity grid during the day, and your local utility company will either allow you a per kilowatt hour or a financial credit for the power you generate to offset the power you consume at night. And while some local utilities and governments pay you a pittance for feeding power back to the grid, and some places actively charge you to feed power to the grid, the majority of utilities around the world are more than happy to pay a fair price or give you a credit for your homegrown electricity. Of course, if you opt to add a battery backup system to your solar panel setup, you can always just store some of that electricity you generate during the day and use it at night. And if you're in a location where feed-in tariffs or net meterings are frowned upon, that might actually be the best option for you. And while grid-tied solar panels turn off when the grid goes down, if you have the right type of battery backup, an automatic transfer switch, and the right inverter, it's sometimes possible to operate your home completely off-grid during power outages, as long as you have power in your batteries and sunlight to charge them back up. I should also note here that while Tesla does get most of the press for its solar panels and its battery backup systems, there are now plenty of other alternatives on the market that are just as good. So don't feel that you have to go the Tesla route to get a battery backup system. Alternatively, you could look into buying one of the great new vehicle-to-load or vehicle-to-home systems coming onto the market right now, and then charge your EV up using excess solar to then power your home from your car in a power cut. But that is for a different video later this year. Going solar might be an expensive investment, but with inflation rising at the fastest pace in 4 decades, the cost of energy soaring, and even grid electricity on the rise, I think setting up your own generation at home might be the single smartest investment you'll make for a long time to come. After buying an EV, of course. That's it for today. If you liked the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and don't forget to leave your thoughts below or in our free to join Discord chat room. There are links in the video description. And if you really like this video, why not leave us a super thanks? It's easy to do and everything you send our way goes towards helping us make great content. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and our other channel, Transport Evolved Take 2, and give the bell a gentle ding to be told when our next video goes live. Hint. It's an unboxing video tomorrow. And thanks to our video sponsors, Energy Sage. Do check them out at the link below. Thanks on behalf of the entire TE crew go out to the folks on my right, for being our $15 to $49 a month supporters. Special thanks to our $50 a month patrons. That's Chris Maxop, Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Patrick Boyarski, Bennett Elder, Brian Newton, Dave Kitchen, Michael Goad, Ricky Leon, Andrew Martin, Guido Drahota, Brophy Wolf, Tazla in the Gong, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Jim Burness, Chris Ascenta, Chris and Michael Johnson, Peter Dillinger and Denny Hyde, and our deepest gratitude to our top tier supporters: Anonymous Freak, Marcel Ward, Reggie Watts, Rory Litwin, Joe Bresney, Reedal, JP Fagerback, Russ, Will Graylin, Matthew Drobnak, John Lyons, Andrew Glenn, Paul Conway, Laura Reynolds, Ellery Hensley, and Ian. If you would like to be part of the amazing list, you can join Patreon at the link below. Hit the join button to support us on YouTube, or show us your support by going to Bitcoin, Ko-fi, or buying something like this from our cool swag store. And if you are unable to support us financially, just know that watching the channel really does help keep the algorithm at bay. It hasn't come down here yet, but we are keeping an eye out for that nefarious cloud. As usual, we'll be back soon with more great content, but until then, thanks for joining me. Keep evolving!